Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today we're going to be talking about the 10 biggest homeschool stereotypes and why they're wrong. So if you're thinking about homeschooling or wondering if homeschooling is right for you, but you're just not sure about some of these issues, this video is for you. So first, if it is your first time here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and if everybody could hit the like button on my video, I would really appreciate it. So the first one that I have on here is the unsocialized homeschooler debate. Now this is a huge thing, and I think everybody who has ever homeschooled has heard this at least half a dozen times in the first year. I think it was the biggest thing that even my own family had as far as issues with us homeschooling was everybody was afraid my kids were going to be like these unsocialized weirdos. Here's the thing. I'm naturally a shy person. My children are not. My children are very outgoing. They are completely opposite of me, which is great. But I have found that most homeschoolers are not unsocialized at all. Actually, I've never met an unsocialized homeschooler. Never. And we're talking co-ops, groups, field trips. The misconception comes, I think, a lot of times from what they would call religious homeschoolers who pull their children away because, we're told in the Word of God that we are supposed to be separate from the world. However, that doesn't mean that we don't leave the house. I think that that's probably the most irritating thing. My kids have been involved in sports, in co-ops, in groups, in church, volunteering. They have all kinds of socialization opportunities. Now, what I love the most about socialization in homeschool is we have the opportunity to have them socialize with other adults. So my children naturally are more mature. Now, that doesn't mean, haters in the comments, that does not mean that my children don't have friends their own age. They most certainly do. We live in a military community and there are kids everywhere. So trust me, they are not short on friends. Okay, number 2. The next misconception is that homeschoolers just don't school. We just play all day, and it's this happy, wondrous land where children don't learn anything. No. The biggest misconception about that is I think most people who don't know that much about homeschooling don't understand that every state has their own set of standards that you have to have. It's kind of like when we're teachers and we're in the education world. You have your state standards that you have to hit. It's the same thing for homeschoolers. It's just a different set of rules. Every state has different mandates and different rules that you have to abide by. You have to present documentation, and your children have to be tested in some states. We live in a state where, they have to be tested. It's annoying, but my kids do amazingly well with it, and it's not something to be feared. So no. There is absolutely no way our children could be not schooled at our home. There's just no way. Number 3, homeschool kids are weird and they don't have any friends. Kind of goes hand in hand with number 1. I always hear this on the internet. Homeschool kids are weird. You know what? You know what I say to that every single time? Homeschool or not, weird kids would be weird if they were public schooled as well. Weird kids are just weird no matter the setting, okay? Those kids would have been weird even if they were in public school. I was the shy, awkward little girl who I would have been a great homeschooler. But you know what? I was public school. My kids have more friends than I did now than I did when I was in school. And they're homeschooled. So, no. And most people have no idea that my kids are homeschooled unless they actually know us, and our kids are so well adjusted and just like any other children, as I'm sure all of your kids are, that I know moms, you can so relate to this. Nobody even realizes my kids are homeschooled until they actually talk to us and find out that we homeschool. So the weird homeschool kids argument is just a term that people who don't know about homeschool use to bash homeschoolers. All right, number 4, only Christian families homeschool. That's a lie. There is a very large growing amount of secular parents who are also homeschooling. I have seen them come into the fold here over the last couple years especially. Now with the rise in school violence, I have seen quite a few more of those, and I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. in the last probably 5 years, I have seen a lot more homeschool families start homeschooling. Bullying, school violence, autism. There's a lot of autistic families who are coming into the fold. There's so many reasons that parents homeschool, but trust me when I say it's not just us weirdo Christian families. Next, parents are unqualified to teach their children. If I have heard a more untrue statement, parents are absolutely qualified to teach their children. And you know why? Most states only require a high school diploma. Now, I worked in the education field. I have a bachelor's degree. I have not used my bachelor's degree one time while teaching these children. Not once. Now, honestly, it's just a very expensive piece of paper hanging on my wall, which, you know, I kind of wish I could have made a better decision about that. But nevertheless, the thing is homeschool curriculums cater to parents who have never seen a lesson plan book. The curriculum books that I get for homeschool are so much easier than the lesson plan mess I used to get as an educator. So much easier. There are even curriculums that tell you as a parent what to say word for word when instructing your child. So really, there's not much to do with a lot of curriculum. And there's so many curriculums nowadays that all you do is put your kid in front of a laptop and do streaming and videos, and they even have like instructor videos to where like the instructor is on the screen and your child is there virtually in class. It's great. So you are absolutely qualified, absolutely 100% qualified to teach your child. Next, homeschooling is expensive. Homeschooling is only as expensive as you make it. Now, as long as you have a library card and an internet connection, there are endless opportunities for you to find all kinds of things to instruct your child. Ambleside Online and Easy Peasy are completely 100% free. You just need a library card. Now, there are other curriculums like Abeka or streaming devices and things like that you can get that are much more expensive. There's two ends of the spectrum. You do not need, you know, some kind of endless budget to teach your children. Next, homeschoolers don't learn civics. Oh, Elizabeth Bartlett. Homeschoolers absolutely learn civics and they learn all kinds of things. And now Harvard has put out this misconception that homeschoolers don't learn real history, or that we don't teach our children civics, or that we need to be policed while we school because we're not educating our children, which is absolutely incorrect. And that's one of the reasons why I know that these people are completely uninformed about homeschool at the highest level. Even in my state, we have state standards and we have testing at the end of the year. So my children are tested on that knowledge, more so than the public school kids in some areas. So yes, our kids learn every single subject because we are told by the state that they have to. So yes, we learn civics and history. And it's not a botched history. It's not a pretty doctored up history. It is actual real history, world and U.S. history and civics. Okay, next, no extracurriculars. What do you do about, sports and band and all kinds of things? They actually have those for homeschoolers. Now, this is one of those things that a lot of people don't know, and it varies state to state and county to county, but some states and some counties actually allow homeschoolers to participate in public school sports. You can find that out by visiting your state representative for education and give them a call or look on their website. A lot of them actually allow you as a homeschool parent to enroll your child. There's also co-ops, and there's also just regular sports. Okay, next, they can't get into college. I keep hearing this over and over and over again, and I'm not sure why, but everybody always asks me, how are your kids going to get into college? Here's the thing. When I enrolled in college, they never once asked me for my diploma. Do you realize that? Not once did I ever produce my diploma. It was always my transcript. As a homeschool parent, when your child enters 9th grade, you start keeping a transcript. And actually, I have my kids enrolled in an umbrella school, which actually keeps our records, it keeps their attendance, and it keeps all of their grades for me. So when my kids graduate 12th grade, they will get a diploma from that school. They can go participate in their graduation, and because we follow all of their school rules for homeschool, they will get a diploma and a transcript done for me. And it's a really well spent amount of money for me every single year to have that from this school. It gives us guidelines, and it gives us a little extra guidance when we need it. So yes, all homeschool kids can go to college, and there's very, very, very few colleges who will not accept a homeschool child. The last one is kids are forced into homeschooling and they absolutely hate it because they miss out on all those high school experiences. It's absolutely false. Absolutely false. If anything, I think it keeps them protected, because you know what, parents? It's our job as parents and as guardians of our children to protect them. And there's a lot of things that I'm glad my children are missing out on, like bullying. My kids actually really like homeschool. They would absolutely hate to be put in public school. And if you ask any homeschool kid, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to hear. So no, my kids do not hate it. It was a transition for them because we did pull them from public school. And it was different, but at the end of the day, they actually really enjoyed it. And I don't know one homeschool kid who doesn't. Now, there are some stubborn kids. Kids are kids. But you know what? There's just kids who don't like school. My 13-year-old, he's just a boy who doesn't like school. So he doesn't like school, whether he's in a public school chair or the chair that I'm sitting in right now. It doesn't matter to him. He just doesn't like school. So you're going to have both ends of the spectrum. But that doesn't mean that homeschooling is bad because your child doesn't like something either. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you can relate to any of these homeschool stereotypes, or if you've heard them yourself, tell me down below. I would love to hear them. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.